It is a Tuesday evening in the autumn of 1951. The Cosmos Club, a private members-only establishment on Massachusetts Avenue in Washington, is hosting one of its usual quiet dinners. The dining room is dim. The waiters wear white. Two men sit at a corner table halfway through their second course. One is American. His name is William Friedman. He is the most important cryptographer in the United States, the man whose team broke the Japanese diplomatic codes during the Second World War. The other is Swedish, by way of pre-Soviet Russia. His name is Boris Hägglin. He builds the machines that governments use to keep their secrets. The two men are friends. They have written each other for years. They both love tinkering. They both love mathematics. They both speak Russian. Tonight, over coffee, Friedman is going to ask his friend a favor on behalf of the United States government. Hägglin will accept it. He will be paid roughly $700,000 in cash. He will not sign a single document. He will shake Friedman's hand and finish his coffee. The conversation will last less than an hour. The consequences will last 50 years. By the time it ends, the most powerful governments on Earth will trust their most sensitive communications to a Swiss company they believe is neutral. They will be wrong, all of them. Months after that dinner, Hägglin moved his operations out of Sweden. He set up shop in a small Swiss town called Zug, population at the time about 15,000. He renamed the company Crypto AG. It was Swiss. Switzerland was neutral. Crypto AG was its crown jewel. Both, by that evening at the Cosmos Club, had become lies. For most of the next decade, the gentleman's agreement held. Hägglin sold weaker machines to non-aligned countries. Friedman quietly read their mail. Both men kept the secret. But Hägglin was a businessman, and the deal was costing him money. There were countries he was not allowed to sell to, sales he was leaving on the table. Friedman, by the late 1950s, understood that the arrangement could not survive on a handshake alone. In 1958, Washington formalized it. Hägglin received another payment, somewhere around $900,000, plus an annual retainer of $70,000. The CIA, now a player, took over the relationship from the NSA. The mechanism became more sophisticated. The machines themselves would be rigged from the factory. For the first time, real engineers, not just lawyers and middlemen, were sitting down inside a Swiss factory to design devices that looked secure and were not. By the end of the decade, those devices were sitting on the desks of more than 50 foreign governments. The Americans had reading access to every one of them. By the late 1960s, Hägglin was nearly 80 years old. He wanted to retire. He wanted to leave the company to his son. His son was a problem. Boris Hägglin Jr., known as Bo, had grown up inside the family business. He ran sales in North and South America, and somewhere along the way, he had figured out what his father was doing. He did not like it. He told colleagues that when he took over the company, the dirty business with the spooks would end. An internal CIA memo from the period describes him in 3 words: a wild card in the deck. The Americans did not want a wild card. The Germans agreed. In June 1970, the West German Foreign Intelligence Service, the BND, and the CIA jointly purchased Crypto AG for 25 million Swiss francs, roughly $5.75 million. The transaction was routed through a Liechtenstein trust, administered by a law firm in Vaduz called Marxer and Gope, so that the true owners would be invisible even to the company's own managers. Hagelin Sr. took the money. His son was kept on as a sales manager. The wild card was still in the deck. 5 months later, Bo Hagelin was driving on the Capitol Beltway outside Washington, D.C. His car crashed. He was taken to a hospital. He died on the 17th of November, 1970. Officially, it was an accident. No foul play. The Washington Post would later report the same. But years later, when the story finally broke, a former vice president of the BND would admit on the record that he had always suspected otherwise. A senior figure inside the German service would describe the deaths around Crypto AG as disproportionately high. Hagelin Sr. outlived his son by 13 years. He never spoke publicly about the crash again. The wild card was out of the deck. By the early 1970s, the operation had a new code name, Thesaurus. Within the CIA's own files, Crypto AG itself was given a cover name, Minerva, the Roman goddess of wisdom and secrets. Sales surged. In the first 5 years of the new ownership, revenue tripled. By the end of the decade, Crypto AG machines were sitting on the desks of more than 100 governments. The list of clients included Iran, Libya, Iraq, Egypt, the Vatican, Brazil, Chile, South Africa, Saudi Arabia, Argentina. It is the summer of 1978. The FIFA World Cup is being played in Buenos Aires. The West German national team is on the field. Hundreds of millions of people are watching on television. 11 kilometers from the stadium, a man is being held in a building called Campo de la Ribera. He is one of 4,000 prisoners moved through that facility over the years of the dictatorship. He is one of the lucky ones. Many of the others have already been loaded onto military aircraft, drugged, stripped, and pushed out the back of the plane over the South Atlantic. The Argentine junta is communicating about all of this, the orders, the lists, the schedules of the death flights. They are using Crypto AG machines to keep those communications secret. At a listening station in northern Germany, the BND is reading every word. The total number of disappeared in Argentina between 1976 and 1983 is estimated at 30,000 people. Many of them were flown out over the ocean and dropped. The Germans knew, the Americans knew. They watched the World Cup. They watched the match. 4 years later, the same machines were still in use. By then, Argentina was at war with Britain over a small group of islands in the South Atlantic. On the 2nd of May, 1982, a British submarine called HMS Conqueror was tracking an Argentine light cruiser called the General Belgrano. The General Belgrano was outside the formal exclusion zone the British had declared around the Falkland Islands. Its movements, technically, did not authorize an attack. In London, Margaret Thatcher's War Cabinet had a question. Where was the General Belgrano going? What was it about to do? In Washington, the Reagan administration had the answer. The Argentine Navy was transmitting on Crypto AG equipment. Every signal was being read in real time. The intelligence was being funneled, quietly, to British intelligence at GCHQ. The Conqueror fired 3 torpedoes. 2 of them hit. The General Belgrano went down in about an hour. 323 Argentine sailors died, almost half of all the Argentine deaths in the entire war. A few weeks later, with the war in full swing, the Argentine government began to suspect. The British seemed to know things they should not have known. Were the crypto machines compromised? The CIA dispatched a senior figure from inside the operation to Buenos Aires. He met with Argentine military officials. He looked them in the eye and told them their main encryption product, the CAG 500, was unbreakable. It was not unbreakable. It had been broken since the day it was sold. The CIA's own internal history records what happened next, in a tone that approaches glee. The bluff worked. The Argentines swallowed hard. But they kept buying crypto AG equipment. It is November of 1979. A crowd is climbing the walls of the United States Embassy in Tehran. 52 Americans are about to be taken hostage. They will not be released for 444 days. President Jimmy Carter has a problem and almost no options. The Shah, the man America propped up in Iran for 26 years, is dying of cancer in a hospital in New York. Ayatollah Khomeini has come back from exile and now runs the country. There are no diplomatic relations. There is no channel. There is, eventually, Algeria. The Algerians offer to mediate. Every message between Washington and Tehran will pass through them. Every message will be encrypted. The Iranians are using crypto AG machines. For more than a year, in every back-channel exchange, Jimmy Carter knows what the Iranian regime is saying to the Algerians before the Algerians say it to him. He knows which demands are bluffs. He knows which ones are real. He knows what Khomeini's inner circle is debating behind closed doors. He has, in his hands, the most asymmetric piece of intelligence any American president has ever held in a hostage negotiation. It does not save him. The hostages are not released on his watch. They are released on the 20th of January, 1981, within minutes of Ronald Reagan being sworn in. Carter has, by then, already lost the election. The intelligence was perfect. The political outcome was not. Knowing everything was not the same as being able to do anything. It is approximately 1:45 in the morning on the 5th of April, 1986. La Belle is a discotheque on Hauptstrasse in West Berlin, popular with American servicemen stationed in the city. On a Friday night, it is crowded. The music is loud. The dance floor is full. A bomb, packed with plastic explosive and shrapnel, detonates near the dance floor. 2 American soldiers and a Turkish woman are killed. More than 229 people are wounded. Some of them lose limbs. Some never walk again. Within days, President Reagan goes on television and accuses the government of Muammar Gaddafi of ordering the attack. Reporters ask how he knows so quickly. He says, in essence, that the United States intercepted communications between the Libyan embassy in East Berlin and Tripoli before and after the bombing. He is not lying. He is also not telling the whole truth. Libya bought its encryption machines from Crypto AG. The traffic between Tripoli and the East Berlin embassy was being read continuously. According to a later ZDF investigation, it is still not clear whether American and German intelligence knew about the bombing in advance and chose not to prevent it, or whether they only learned in real time as it happened. What is clear is what came next. 10 days after the bombing, American F-111 fighter bombers took off from bases in Britain and struck multiple targets inside Libya. At least 60 people were killed, including one of Gaddafi's adopted daughters. She was 15 months old. Her name was Hannah. The operation that began with 2 friends having dinner in Washington had now, indirectly, killed a child in Tripoli. Inside crypto, AG almost nobody knew. The factory floor did not know. The salesman did not know. The accountants did not know. A handful of senior engineers knew. One of them was a Swiss physicist named Peter Frutiger. Frutiger had joined Crypto AG in the 1960s. He had risen to head of research and deputy director. He was one of the few people inside the building who understood fully what the company was actually doing. He flew regularly to a BND facility outside Munich. He flew regularly to the United States to meet his American counterparts. He thought for a long time that he was on the right side of history. Then, in the mid-1970s, he was sent to the Engadine Valley in the Swiss Alps to install a secure communications system inside a private villa. The villa belonged to the Shah of Iran. The Shah was paranoid. He believed there were assassins on every road. He asked Frutiger to drive him personally to a meeting in nearby St. Moritz, in Frutiger's own Mercedes, wearing a wig as a disguise. On the drive, the Shah began to talk. He told Frutiger that he had heard rumors that there were cipher machines on the market that had been tampered with, compromised, sold pre-broken. Then the Shah turned to him and said the part that broke Peter Frutiger's conscience. But not yours, not Crypto AG. Yours are the only ones I can still trust. Frutiger drove him to St. Moritz in silence. He went home. He thought about it for 2 years. In 1977, he resigned from Crypto AG. He went to 3 senior officials of the Swiss federal government, including the country's chief federal prosecutor, and told them in private what the company was actually selling. Nothing was done. The Swiss government, it later emerged, had already been informed. Several members of the Federal Council were aware of the operation. They had decided, collectively, that it was none of their business. Frutiger went home and waited. He would remain anonymous for the next 43 years. Hans Bühler was a salesman. He had joined Crypto AG in the early 1970s, around the time of the BND and CIA takeover. He had built the company's relationship with one of its biggest clients, the government of Iran. He flew to Tehran often. He believed in the product. He believed in the company. He believed Crypto AG was Swiss, neutral, and clean. He believed it because everyone told him so, including the people who knew it was a LI. On the 18th of March, 1992, Bühler flew into Tehran for a routine business trip. He did not come back. He was arrested at the airport and taken to Evin prison, the same prison where Iran has, for 40 years, held its political prisoners, and where, by his own account, he could hear other inmates being tortured and shot in nearby cells. He was held in solitary confinement for 9.5 months. He was interrogated on and off for hundreds of hours. The Iranian intelligence service kept asking him the same questions in different forms. Had he given Iran's codes to the Americans? Had he given Libya's codes? What did he know about manipulated machines? He did not know anything. That was the point. That was why the CIA had built the operation that way, so that the people on the front lines, the salesmen who put the machines into the hands of foreign governments, would believe in what they were selling. Bühler could pass any lie detector test the Iranians administered because he was not lying. After 9.5 months, the BND quietly paid Iran approximately $1 million. The CIA refused to contribute. American policy, on paper, forbade paying ransom. The Germans paid alone. Bühler was put on a plane in January of 1993. He arrived back in Switzerland a different man. His health had collapsed. his marriage would not survive it. Crypto AG fired him within weeks. Then the company tried to recover the bail money from him personally. Then they offered him 250,000 Swiss francs for his silence. He took the money. He had no other money left. And then, almost immediately, he began to tell anyone who would listen that something was wrong with Crypto AG. He went to Swiss journalists, he went to the police, he went on television. Nobody believed him. He was a broken man making large accusations against a company that had paid him to be quiet. He spent the next 26 years of his life trying to convince the world of what the CIA already knew was true. The Berlin Wall came down in 1989. The Soviet Union dissolved in 1991. The Cold War, the reason the operation had been built in the first place, ended. The operation did not. In 1993, the BND grew nervous. Bühler had begun talking. Other journalists had begun asking questions. The relationship between the German and American services had been strained for years. The Germans had always been the more squeamish partner. They were uncomfortable selling rigged machines to Latin American dictatorships. The Americans had never minded. That year, the BND quietly withdrew from Operation Rubicon. The CIA bought their 50% share for approximately $17 million, and then the CIA kept running it, alone, for another 25 years. By the late 1990s, the operation was no longer primarily about Cold War adversaries. It was about anyone who would still buy a Crypto AG machine. Italian diplomatic traffic was reportedly still being decoded as late as 2001. Other clients in Latin America and the Middle East kept buying. The fact that the wall had fallen, that the Soviet Union no longer existed, did not change the basic deal. The machines still leaked. The CIA still read. It continued through the Clinton administration. It continued through both Bush administrations. It continued through the Obama administration. The fingerprints of the operation lasted into the era of smartphones and encrypted messaging apps, even as the technology it was built on became increasingly obsolete. It finally ended in 2018. Crypto AG was broken up. Two new firms took over what remained of the business. Both publicly insisted they had no connection to any intelligence service. By then, the man at the center of the original deal had been dead for 35 years. The wild card, whose death had cleared the path, had been dead for 48 years. And Hans Bühler, the salesman who had spent 26 years trying to tell the truth, had just died on the 27th of July, 2018, in Zurich. 19 months later, on the 11th of February 2020, the Washington Post, the German broadcaster ZDF, and Swiss public broadcaster SRF jointly published a story based on a 96-page internal CIA history. The history was titled Minerva, a History. Inside it, the CIA described Operation Rubicon, in its own words, as the intelligence coup of the century. Everything Bühler had said was true. He had been dead for 19 months. The story broke. The repercussions were almost nothing. The German government did not investigate. The American government has never publicly commented. Switzerland opened a parliamentary inquiry. As of today, no charges have been filed against anyone in any country for anything connected to Operation Rubicon. The companies that bought the remains of Crypto AG say they have no remaining ties to the CIA. They would, of course, say that. Two private companies were mentioned in the CIA's own internal history. in addition to Crypto AG itself. Both are still in business. Both are household names. Inside the operation, they had cover names. Olympia was the German conglomerate Siemens, which provided engineers and consulting. Navajo was the American multinational Motorola, which provided components. Neither company has been charged with anything. For more than 50 years, every government that mattered, adversaries, allies, neutrals, dictatorships, democracies, the Vatican itself, bought their secrets from a company they believed was Swiss and neutral. The company was neither. The secrets were not secrets. The neutrality was a marketing slogan that two intelligence services had paid for in 1952 and never stopped paying for. Hans Bühler is buried in Zurich. The men who interrogated him in Evin prison were never wrong. He was working, all along, for a company that was selling lies. He just did not know it. He died still trying to prove the thing the CIA's own internal history would, 19 months later, confess on 96 pages. Switzerland was neutral. Crypto AG was Swiss. Both, in the end, were exactly what they appeared to be, and nothing at all. If a story like this, one that took 50 years to surface and two intelligence services to bury, matters to you, subscribe. We are building a channel for the stories that were meant to stay buried. There are more coming.